Happy Friday, legends. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr. Hope all of the Bird Gang is getting prepared to have a fantastic weekend. A bunch of great Eagles news to cover here on the show today, and I'm so glad that all of you are hanging out here with me. I do want to begin with this because those of you who watch the show, you know what our goal is for the channel here in the month of June, to pick up more subscribers this month than we did last month. And the real ones are crushing it. On yesterday's Thursday show, on June 19th, 35 new people hit that subscribe button. So that means that as we enter the back half of June here, we've picked up 759 new subscribers this month. The number in May that we have to beat, because I promised my bosses that we would, and I know that Eagles fans always show up and show out, is this number here to my right, 1,132. We can put a dent on that if a lot of you hit that subscribe button, and I promise you, you won't regret it, because I'm going to continue to give you the best, most elite Eagles coverage right here on YouTube. Let's begin with Cooper DeJean. ESPN naming him the best slot cornerback in the National Football League going into 2025. What a start he has gotten off to in his young NFL career. In the regular season, graded out extremely well according to Pro Football Focus, an 82.7 overall grade. That was fourth among 222 corners. His run defense grade, 90.8. That was second. His ability to impact the game in a plethora of ways is so impressive. In coverage, he held up very well, 79.3 there. That ranked 12th at the position. He had 20 stops. That was inside the top 30. He had 5 pass breakups. That ranked 44th. Gave up 49 catches. That was top 26 among corners. He had 3 pressures as Vic Fangio used him as a blitzer, delayed blitzer, a disguised man in the slot, covering a bunch of different players. 3 pressures there. That ranked 17th. And that all came on 416 coverage snaps. Like Quinyon Mitchell turned it on and got even better from the regular season to the playoffs, same thing happened with Cooper DeJean. What a draft haul by Howie Roseman, getting Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, Cooper DeJean in the second round. What a way to rebuild that secondary with the first 2 picks in the draft 2 years ago. So Coop in the playoffs, overall PFF grade was 79.2. That was 5th. Run defense grade, 70.6. That was 11th. His coverage grade, 79.6. That was 6th. Of course, he had that famous interception of Patrick Mahomes, and he had 5 stops, 2 pass breakups, and 1 pressure. And it was a lot of fun to see Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio utilize his great defensive mind and utilize the unique skill set that Cooper DeJean has. When he was at Iowa, he played all over that secondary. And I think that best suits him because it allows him to use his athleticism to his advantage and impact the game in a bunch of ways. And the presence of DeJean last year, once the Eagles came out of that bye, was instrumental in them becoming the number 1 defense in the NFL. Now, Bill Barnwell said this about DeJean, and DeJean entering the lineup is something that he noted here when he called him the best slot corner in the NFL. DeJean spent the first month of his rookie year on the sideline, but after Philadelphia's Week 5 bye, his move into the starting lineup coincided with a massive defensive improvement. After ranking 26th in expected points added per play, that's EPA per play, on defense before the bye, the Eagles were comfortably the league's best defense by the same metric afterward. The second-place Texans ranked closer to 13th than they did to first. How crazy is that? And remember that going into training camp, I remember doing a breaking news video from my house from the at-home setup. There was that report that DeJean suffered a hamstring injury getting ready for training camp, and there was an expectation that maybe he was going to come back in a couple of weeks. He didn't do anything throughout training camp. He didn't play or make his professional debut until the 3rd preseason game. And so Vic Fangio didn't really trust him at first because he's a rookie. He had a lot to learn and master, and he had to get his feet wet a little bit. But once the Eagles came out of the bye, Fangio put him into that starting lineup in the slot. Eagles never looked back. And his impact was certainly felt. More from Bill Barnwell here. It would probably be unrealistic to suggest DeJean was the single driver of those improvements, talking about that EPA stat, but he certainly served as a revelation in the secondary. From week 6 onward, his minus 22.7 EPA allowed as the nearest defender in coverage, ranked second in the league, with fellow rookie standout Nate Wiggins the only corner ahead of him per NFL Next Gen stats. He didn't allow a single touchdown on 68 targets, and while he didn't record any interceptions during the regular season, you might remember what he did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And DeJean's football knowledge, his football IQ, the savviness, if you will, to his game, it makes him a really unique player. And that pick 6 backed all of that out, backed all of that up. You know, DeJean dropped back in coverage, and as Mahomes rolled to his right, Mahomes talked about this. DeJean faked him out. And so Mahomes thought he was going one direction. DeJean faked it, and then he went the other direction. Mahomes thought that he was going to be able to make that throw, fit that ball in there. That's not what happened. Cooper DeJean faked out Mahomes, picked him off, and the pick 6 really got the ball rolling for the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. And you know what? It's June 20th. Let's throw it back to our Super Bowl watch party. Here's my play-by-play call of the DeJean pick 6 against Patrick Mahomes. I always kind of crack up when I look back at these things because when we're doing our watch parties in the moment, it's like I'm out of character sometimes. I get so pumped up, so emotional, so juiced up, especially a game of this magnitude in the Super Bowl. I went nuts for this DeJean pick 6, so let's look back at it right now. Mahomes rolls to his right. Gonna throw downfield. Intercepted! Cooper DeJean back the other way. Gets a block. Right. He's inside the 10. Touchdown! Pick 6. Cooper DeJean takes it to the crib. Eagles go up by 3 scores. They sack Mahomes on back-to-back plays, and then they intercept him. And it's the rookie. What a moment! Let's go! The rookie faked out Mahomes, faked left, bolted right, takes it back home. Let's fucking go! Extra point pending, about to be 17-0. Let's go! Pedal to the metal. And one thing I kept saying during that watch party, do not let up. I said it right there. Pedal to the metal. Because even when you go up a couple of scores, you can't count Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid out of the game. And so I thought the Eagles did a great job of just continuing to go full throttle. Pedal to the floor, not letting up, not being content with going up by a couple of scores. They just kept it moving, and they just dominated throughout the entire course of the game. And a legendary stat padding performance from Mahomes late in the fourth quarter, by the way, because he threw a couple of those touchdowns, making his stat line look so much better than it was, but the real ones, no. 3 turnovers against Philadelphia, including that pick 6. Look, we're going to be doing watch parties for all Eagles games. If you didn't subscribe when I told you to earlier, but you like that excitement, that's what we bring you every single week here on the program. Bill Barnwell with some more stuff on Cooper DeJean. With the Eagles releasing Darius Slay, DeJean will play outside more often in 2025, as he'll likely start outside in their base defense and work out of the slot in sub packages. He was in coverage as an outside corner on just 6 snaps last year, none of which came during the postseason. He moved all around the backfield in college at Iowa, which should help his chances of handling the added responsibilities. A dominant rookie season also bodes well for his chances of being a great NFL cornerback regardless of where he lines up pre-snap. Vic Fangio has alluded to this, and he knows that Cooper DeJean can be used and utilized in a multitude of ways. Outside corner with the base defense. He can move inside. Fangio even talked about him playing safety. I like him in the slot because it allows him to do so much as compared to strictly being on the outside. We also talked about this during the live show a little bit earlier this week. I'm not sure we're ever going to see this again, where two rookies in Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell were number 1 and 2 in cornerbacks in man coverage last year. And here's the graphic here as I step aside. Look at Mitchell and DeJean ahead of the pack by a pretty good margin there. Again, two rookies with the highest man coverage grades among all corners in the game, and they're 1 and 2 in that category. We might not ever see that again. Did a YouTube short on that last night. Be sure to check that out. So let's pop up this poll question here. Is Cooper DeJean the best slot corner in the NFL? Bill Barnwell, ESPN, saying yes. What say you? Type B for best and Y for not yet. I do want to mention this too before we continue to keep it moving. Chip, you can toss me one of these Eagles Now hats. We had a couple of people who bought these a couple of weeks ago for $50. I'm going to give you a Friday weekend deal. If you want an Eagles Now hat to support the show, support the company movement, support what we do, and to rep the birds, I also think our channel logo is fantastic. I'm bumping that down from $50 to $40. It's not the only thing that you get, though. You will get a letter from me, and we'll give you some Chat Sports swag as well, including some Chat Sports sunglasses. Look, we don't sell merchandise as a merchandise retailer, and so we have these hats that we had made. We had a new shipment come in, and if you Venmo $40 to me at Chase_Senior, goes such a long way in supporting everything that we do. So if you love the program, you enjoy what I do, what producer Chip does as well, Venmo me $40 to my Venmo at Chase_Senior. It's a Friday weekend deal, bumping that price down, and it's not the only thing that you get. You see the username there. You can also scan that QR code. It'll take you to my Venmo page as well. We have sent these all around the country. When we were in New Orleans, we were also handing these out to some Eagles fans on Bourbon Street. I wear this hat at almost every one of my workouts at the gym, and people are always like, Eagles Now, let's go. All right, so the back half of the show. ESPN released its all-quarter century team. Now that we're in 2025, that's 25 years down of this century. Kind of makes me feel old. And 4 Eagles were named on this all-quarter century team. Here's a look at the offensive quarter century team and then the defensive quarter century team. Aaron Schatz and Seth Walder were the ones who put these teams together based upon the resumes of these players. You can make the argument that Andy Reid should be on there. He's probably number 2 as the head coach. Bill Belichick beating him out, and it's easy to see why. As for those 4 Eagles who are on this ESPN all-quarter century team, guess them for me right now if you can. I think you'll get 3 of them right, maybe 2. One of them's a pretty big wild card. One of them is a current player. Obviously, we're going to reveal that now, but if you want to press pause on this video and guess it right now down in the comment section, you can do that. Don't cheat. I know if you'll cheat. So here are the Eagles on the all-quarter century team. Terrell Owens at wide receiver, Brian Dawkins at safety, a great era of safeties in the early 2000s and really over the last 25 years. Jason Kelsey at center, and how about Lane Johnson at right tackle? ESPN on Terrell Owens. Obviously, the teams he played for, Niners from 96 to 03, Eagles 04, 05, Cowboys 06 to 08, Bills in 09, Bengals in 2010. Resume since 2000, 12,627 receiving yards, 123 receiving touchdowns, 5-time All-Pro. In the 11 years that he played in this quarter century, recorded 3 second-place finishes in DYAR and 1 infamous driveway news conference. He led the league in receiving touchdowns 3 times, and his 80.3 receiving yards per game ranks 6th among wide receivers with at least 50 games played since 2000. He would play through any injury for his team, as evidenced by his miraculous 122-yard performance in Super Bowl 39 after breaking his leg 7 weeks earlier. That was a great performance for T.O. in the Super Bowl against New England. If the Eagles would have won that game, if Donovan McNabb was in better shape, if he played better, T.O. would have been Super Bowl MVP. His Eagles career did not last long enough. He played one full season with the Eagles. That one full season was cut short due to injury after Roy Williams had that horse collar tackle on him, which is now obviously outlawed. Then the following year, he wanted a new deal. Joe Banner, Andy Reid, Jeffrey Lurie didn't want to give him that. Andy Reid sent him home during training camp. That's what led to the infamous driveway press conference, and Donovan McNabb didn't do anything to convince T.O. that he should be happy and stay with Philadelphia. If I was Donovan McNabb, he had his best year ever with T.O. Outside of T.O., he really didn't have that bona fide number one wide receiver. If I'm McNabb, I would have done everything possible to keep T.O. happy and with the Philadelphia Eagles. But egos got in the way. ESPN on Jason Kelce. Obviously played with the Birds from 2011 through 2023. Resume since 2000. 193 starts, one-time Super Bowl champ, six-time All-Pro. Picking our lone center was a fairly straightforward call. While Marquise Pouncey made the Pro Bowl 9 times versus Kelce's 7, Kelce's 6 first-team All-Pro selections are by far the most of any center. No other player has had more than 2 since 2000. Kelce helped lead the Eagles to 2 Super Bowl appearances and revolutionized 3rd and 4th and 1s league-wide with his critical role in the still permitted tush-push play. You know what's crazy about Kelce, too? At the NFL Combine coming out of Cincinnati, he weighed in at under 290 pounds. And he started an era of teams being okay with drafting and developing smaller, more athletic centers. When Kelce got out in space, the best in the business, and on and off the field, just became an absolute Philadelphia icon and legend, just the epitome of what you should be as an Eagles player. ESPN on Lane Johnson with the Birds, 2013 until right now. Hopefully for the next few years, he'll continue to stay healthy. He feels as though he hasn't reached his peak yet. Isn't that nuts? Resume since 2000, 158 starts, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 5-time All-Pro, leads all right tackles in Pro Bowl selections since 2000 with 6. No other players who primarily played right tackle in that span has more than 4. He has perhaps been at his best over the past couple of years. In 2023, led all tackles in run block win rate and was 9th in pass block win rate. Last year, he was 5th among tackles in both run block win rate and pass block win rate. That kick step that he has, it's so special. It's so unique. And it's allowed him to shut down some of the top pass rushers in the history of football, certainly in this generation. Before it's all said and done, Lane Johnson, if he's not already, might be the best right tackle of all time. Video coming out on that this weekend. Check it out. ESPN on Brian Dawkins, my favorite Eagle of all time. With the Birds from 96 to 2008, never should have had to have left and gone to the Denver Broncos, but he was there from 2009 to 2011. Resume since 2000, 22.5 sacks, 29 forced fumbles, 25 picks, 5-time All-Pro. Dawkins delivered some huge hits during his 12 seasons this quarter century, as evidenced by the fact that he forced the second most fumbles among DBs in our span and finished with the 3rd most sacks. When Dawkins was on the Eagles from 2000 to 08, Philadelphia ranked 3rd in EPA allowed per dropback on defense. The heart and soul of the Eagles organization, the energy that he played with was contagious. We will never see another player like Brian Dawkins. It's a damn shame he never won a Super Bowl, but nobody will ever wear that number 20 again, and he's in Canton as a Hall of Famer for many, many reasons. Before we hop on out of here, hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Give me a follow. I'm on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. In addition to all of the Eagles content I give you here, always talking Birds over there as well.